I'd forgotten that lyric. It really sums up my attitude at the moment. Wish everybody would leave me alone. That is, I don't know, the way the world's going. I just want to be left alone. So I don't do anything anymore. Can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. This is why we can't have nice things. People are never happy. You try your hardest. Yeah. I wouldn't call it street life now, though. I call it home life. I just want to be. I want to stay here. It's bad now. Doesn't matter what it is. I just turn down going to everything now. Even like nice things, like like a party, award show, and I just go, oh, I can't. I'm giving the orphanage. COVID, I've got COVID. Oh God. Oh, cough. See? Tested yesterday. Right. Yeah. I was forced into this. Dogs and cats going, you doing a thing tonight? Yeah. I am. What's been happening? Right, here's some questions. Titch was straight in. If they invented a device that allowed you telepathically to talk to dogs, would you spend all day over Hampstead Heath stalking dogs? And do you know what I'm thinking in this pic? You're thinking Borley, biscuit, pigeon. Just like that. In your head. Yeah, that'd be amazing if we could talk to dogs, wouldn't it? I'd use them as an army, I think. Like so someone was annoying me. I'd go, roar, the dogs would come out and I'd go, like that. And he'd run away. Christine, what 3 things in your life bring you the most happiness? Well, I assume you don't mean friends, family, spouses and all that. That would be obvious, wouldn't it? That would use them all up, wouldn't it? So apart from that, take that as a given. Work. I like doing the work. Even though I know people who complain, I still enjoy doing that. I enjoy coming up with stuff, and I go, oh, this will annoy people. So I enjoy the work, or the creativity, I should say. I enjoy I enjoy coming up with ideas and doing them and that, and I can't wait to. I'm doing some new stuff. Next week, new material. I love that bit of it. I get excited about that. Come up with a new idea. But then I want to go, I don't do anything else ever again. Then you start thinking of all the admin you've got to do. It takes ages, like a year's work, a half hour on telly, and people watch it. And some people go, oh, it was good. Some people go, yeah, it was alright. Some people go, I didn't like it. Some people go, I'm going to write a letter to the BBC. Well, actually, I missed those days. That's why there's so much more complaining these days. Because 20 years ago, if you wanted to complain about something, you'd get out a pencil and paper and you go, dear BBC, I can't be bothered. What am I doing? Let's have a cup of tea. Right? Brilliant. Right? Now they can fire a tweet off, and someone goes, yeah, suddenly it's like a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. Turn the telly off. I didn't like this, who can I tell? Don't tell anyone. Just don't watch it again. What 3 things? So, creativity, my work that I do, it just happens to be my job, but I love that, coming up with stuff. Dogs, animals in general, I suppose animals. Nature, creativity, nature. Playing tennis. I look forward to that all week, like 1 hour. If it rains, I'm furious. I need a tennis court in my house in London so I can play every day. Even against a wall, like a really sad kid. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with half a tennis court and a big wall. Because then I could play tennis. Now I wouldn't have to meet anyone or arrange anything. Like a proper little mad recluse. That's how I taught myself. After school, by myself in the gym, hitting against a wall. Yeah. So, creativity, animals, tennis, wine. That's 3. Right. Max and Muffin. Did you consciously move your foot when you were talking about Lisa in Afterlife? His friend, oh yeah, but this is Max and Muffin, and his friend, a widower, said that they tap their foot when they're talking about their wives. I don't know if I did it specifically because of that. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But like if you're getting emotional and you're anxious, I think you do fidget, like to control it. You know, you're trying to control things. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. But I usually do act. If I'm sad, I do. You know, my lips quiver and you fidget because you're embarrassed and you're nervous and you're thinking. I also think I do it so because you're childlike, because you're vulnerable, you're worried and you want comfort. So a lot of people, when they're really emotional, you know, they revert almost, like they're weak because they need comfort. So I did do it consciously, but I didn't do it specifically, like, you know, about being a widower. But yeah, I'm fascinated with body language. I think it's not done enough in acting. They just say the words, but, you know, and put teardrops in. But I just think it's more than that. It's like there's a lot goes on. Like, so much is non-verbal and tells and give things away that you're really thinking and not what you're actually saying. So I'm fascinated with the psychology of body language. Yeah, and that's very nice that people have noticed. Gunnar, what are the necessary components for defining consciousness? The necessary components for defining it? Ooh, words. I have to use words. Well, it is a tricky one. I still don't think people quite understand what consciousness... A definition of consciousness, in layman's terms, and I don't say that like I'm not a layman, I am a layman. Although what people don't realise is, right, because I talk to cats and dogs, and I say stupid, and I look like a bag of shit as well, right? And I've got a stupid Reading accent, and I look thick and old and drunk, right? Right? They don't realise that I have got an honours degree from a top university in philosophy, okay? And discussion of consciousness, one of the first things I remember when I did my degree, discussing Descartes. Now Descartes, little French fella, and he was pondering. This is probably the single most famous phrase in philosophical circles. I'm sure you've heard of it. Cogito ergo sum. It means I think, therefore I am. And where it comes from was Descartes was going, how do I know this is real? How do I know I'm even alive? What if this is like like a dream? None of this is real. I'm not really here. And he went through all that. Well, it could be a dream. But then he went, oh, but hold on. Even if it's not real, but I'm dreaming it, I must be alive to have these thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I'm thinking, therefore I must exist. And consciousness is an individual's awareness of oneself in the world. That's all it is, really. It's the fact that we're feeling thoughts. We're feeling we're alive. Maybe it's not even a self-awareness, because I assume there are loads of examples of animals that are conscious, but they're not thinking, "Oh, I'm a nice little frog." But to explain it in any terms, it must be the awareness of that you're even if you can't put it into language, it's the awareness of being, I'd say. There's probably philosophers out there and neuroscientists and psychologists going, "You don't know what you're talking about, Gervais." Well, that may be so, but at least I'm saying it like I know what I'm talking about, and that is all that matters these days. People are so confident they've got a good point or original thought. The worst thing at the moment is this myth that all good ideas all new ideas are good. It's just not true. There's people go, "Oh yeah, come on, it's a new idea. Get with the program. This is the future." No. Loads of ideas. And they have a go at when they go, "Hey, let's go back to the way." Loads of ideas. Everyone who's had a new idea thought, "That's a good idea, isn't it?" No, it's not. It might not be. It's a idea. I bet loads of people, like years ago, were going, "Oh, get with the program, Grandad. Communism's a brilliant idea." No, it's not. Same with fascism. No, they were new ideas once, weren't they? Fascism, communism, they're all new ideas. Brilliant. No, they're not all new ideas. Not all progress is good. Sometimes you go, "Hey, what are we doing? Why do we do this? It's bollocks." Oh God! I mean, the internet. That seems like a good idea at the moment. I think soon we're going to fucking turn it off. This. Apparently, in one of the plagues, the Black Death, they thought it was the smell. They thought the disease was carried on smell. So you've got they made these big, sort of weird sort of suits that were like leather things with like a beak that was packed with like posies and flowers because they thought the smell couldn't get in. What's weird is it worked, because what they didn't realise was it was actually carried on fleas, but the fleas couldn't bite them. So they thought this suit was working, and it was working, but only because the fleas couldn't bite them, because they were keeping out the smell. It's good, isn't it? I could do that. Oh, that'd be useless. That's a good question, that. Julia. What or who was your inspiration for the annoying English teacher? He was brilliant in an awful way. Yeah. Played by the great Tim Key, one of Diane's dates. The joke, though, often those little things are my excuse to do like a sketch about a type. So it wasn't based on anyone, but the sketch was very simple, classic comedy sketch writing. Was, what if you took your job home with you? Classic. What if a teacher, like a teacher is at school, what if he was like that at home? Classic comedy. So he couldn't get out of how he treated children with an adult. Elbows, sit up. That was the joke. Then you just build things around him, make him pompous, make him rude to waiters, make him sort of arrogant, make him think that he's a genius. But that was the inspiration. What if a policeman was a policeman at home? And it's just classic old sketch writing. Leslie. Armageddon is about the end of the world. Yeah, that's my next stand-up after Supernature. I've done Supernature, but that's not going to be out for months. That's on Netflix. They're putting that into 160 languages, so people can complain in every country in the world. But my next one is Armageddon. My question is, did you find your head was just bursting with so many ideas for this subject? Yeah, it was. So the basic premise of this is, it's me. I'm going to talk about all the different ways humanity will be wiped out, and I'm sorry that I'm not around to see it. So a cheery subject. So it take on everything from, you know, are we going to destroy ourselves from ideas, politics, war, greed, famine, global warming, a meteor, you know, whatever, zootropic diseases. So it's all about that, all those fun things, but me sort of laughing about it and being a bit smug that I'll be dead, but sorry that I'd like to see it. So, yeah, but I've got my first new material night, Tuesday, and just going to go down and just try stuff out, really. I haven't really written routines, but I've got, you know, the odd observation and gag, and my chums are going to help me out. So, yeah, very exciting. Nancy, when you stay in a hotel somewhere, do you secretly take things from the hotel room? Like the soap, shampoo, tea bags? I do. I don't take those things. I take a pen, because I like the fact that it's got the name of the hotel and the city often. Like, you know, Four Seasons, Paris, or whatever. Now they'll be on the phone. They're going, where's that pen? I don't know. You says on the bollocks gang, you nick our pen. I went, no. Didn't. No, they said, Nancy said she nicks tea bags and but you did stay with us and you nick our pen. I go, no. I did. I can't prove it. Casper and Yuri. Why are there no cats in Afterlife? I'll tell you. Because they can't act. Simple as that. They can't act. Dogs can act, can't they? They do what they're told. Cats don't. Cats won't do what they're told. The best you can hope from a cat is that it just sits there, if that's what you want. But you can't write cat walks across. Fuck, he's fucked. He's sat down. He's licking it. Right, cut. So that's your answer. And there is one. Is it Ep 3? Series 2? The sort of lady who's lost her husband and daughter, and she's got a little cat, played by Sid the cat. I think his name was Frank in the thing. I've got a different chair, but it's too slidey. I keep sliding down like that. It's too slidey. So yeah, there are cats. There's one cat in Afterlife, and it just had to sit there so that you could do that. Keena, how does it feel to receive such an overwhelming response from different parts of the world? I think it is utterly phenomenal. It is. It's mental. I talk about it to some of the cast, and none of us have ever done anything like this for the reaction, the amount of people. And it's not just the viewing figures, they're mental. I mean, they are mental. When you think about the people get excited about what, you know, you get on telly, right? And it's like 20 times that. It's mad, right? But that, I can't take credit for that. That's, Netflix has got to take some of the credit for that. Well, and the people that watched it, of course. And word of mouth is the best. Word of mouth is still the best. And particularly because it's always there. It's not like it's gone, like if it's on telly or, you know, or you got to buy the DVD or something. It's always there, so people are visiting it like it's the first day it's out. People discovering it every day. And every day people finish the whole series, or start the series. But what's different about this is the depth of the connection. Obviously, people like the jokes, and you know, they like all the comedy characters like Brian and Ratty and all that. But I'd say 9 out of 10 compliments are people saying, they cried or they connected with the character or something. And the best thing about it is, because it's had hundreds of millions of views, right? Some people don't even know the other stuff I've done. Some people are sort of coming of age. They weren't born when The Office was out, so they're going, I didn't. Or some people are going, I hated The Office, but I love this, and then they go back and watch Derek that they didn't watch because they didn't like The Office or something. So it's just constant. It's a constant stream of people discovering it or me or Netflix, and it is a phenomenon. And but the best thing about it is it's the emotional connection. I think some people don't like it. Some people hate that. Some people go, "Oh, I ruined the comedy," but everyone's different. Of course they do. If you look at 10 things I've done and you ask 1,000 people to put them in order, it would be a different order. Everyone will put it in a different order. Some people will hate The Office, love Afterlife. Some people it's the other way around. Everyone is different, and no one thinks they're wrong. If you see a list, they go, "Well, that's a wrong list." That's not a wrong list. It's just not your list, mate. Everyone's different. It doesn't surprise me. It never surprises me what order people put my stuff in. I just think, well, yeah, because you're a person, so you're going to have it in your order. But people take it personally. You see it. I see it online when someone says, "I hated The Office, I love this." People go, "You're crazy, dude. I hated this, I love The Office." There's no argument. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's so weird. Because they take it, they think, "Oh, why isn't everyone the same as me? Why do people love that thing? I hate it." Or "Why don't people love that thing? I love it." So it is phenomenal, and overall, obviously, it's just amazing. And the important thing is that's the proof of the pudding, right? I see these things that a few people rave about, and no one watches them because it's sort of like there's a snobbery. You're going to watch this thing. It's like like the posh press or champion something, and then you look at it and you think, well, it's everyone in the world is equal. Everyone is just as valid. 1 million people watching something, that's amazing to me. I realise more and more that I only care about the audience now. I used to love awards and reviews only because I wanted people to watch the show, but now I realise it's irrelevant now because social media. Like, more people are watching this than read a newspaper today. So. So I thank you. I thank the people at home for watching this sort of retweeting things, watching Afterlife, Derek. You are the only that you're the only ones that matter. Nothing else matters. And that's the thing as well, that I think the broadcasters are suddenly realising that in studios. They can put all the 5-star reviews and say won Oscars. Doesn't matter. Whereas if people watch something, they want a piece of it. They want it. That's all they care about deep down, because they only care about awards and reviews to get people to watch the thing. So if you go straight as a new advice I'd give to a new director, go straight to the public, go direct to the public, and that's what matters. And that'll stop you being a fucking snob and just worry about the ordinary people. I include myself in that, by the way. I'm an ordinary person. I'm not saying I'm special. Far from it. But that's one of my pet hates. I see that. Celebrities definitely think they're a little bit better. They're not. They're worse. They're worse. Right. There you go. That was half hour of absolute, wasn't it? Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Buy a t-shirt. Buy something for charity. Help the dogs. and cats, all animals. Be nice to animals. And cheers. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye.
Look, is that like bacon?
How can you arrest him for saying he likes bacon?
Have a look at what you can get arrested for chanting in Britain.
I'm not resisting. I'm just Andy, fucking bullshit, like, just because you said you like bacon. I like bacon, mate. It's all on camera. Yeah. What's the offence? What's the offence?
And what's that?
Public order.
And what's that?
You're not allowed to say you like bacon butties around here, lad.
Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, so it's anything that might be perceived to be racially abusive.
Mate, listen, a full English breakfast, yeah, what does that consist of?
Well, I'm not discussing,
So what, hey?
what about the wanker sign you did?
You're in the corner.
So, alright, let's move on then.
Nice, scum. Ben, take it easy.
Can't put me rock the hold of me until...
You'll be out in no time.
Wait here, just wait here. Just stop there, stop.
Are you with the other cereal? Sorry.
No, I'm just with the boss.
So apparently, you can't say,
I love bacon.
I love bacon. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, and at the risk of getting denied entry the next time I try and land at Heathrow, I love bacon too.
What absurdity to have the police force have those discussions with their citizens.
It's terrifying, but it is all political. It's Orwellian. It's like we were saying at the beginning of the show with Lucy Connolly. Britain has turned into this weird kind of Orwellian dystopian state where they will arrest you for the most ridiculous things.
Well, I think your question is to do with the cancel culture. Could it be, would people allow it to do that? I think so, probably, with a bit of negotiation. Because even then, I'd sometimes have to talk people down. I go, this is fine. This is irony. Or no, this is okay. No, that's the point of that language. That's the... No, it's not racist. He's a racist. So I still had explaining to do in the year 2000. Also, cancel culture is sort of... Don't worry about it now, it's done. They tried. But you wouldn't want it to be the same, because The Office, I think, was good because it was a keen observation about the etiquette of the time and what it was like to be in office in 2000. So it couldn't be the same because things are different now. Could the equivalent be done? I think so. I don't know. I don't know what it'd be like now trying to get all those things past through, but it could be the same anyway, and you wouldn't want it to be the same because you sort of want to reflect the world, really, and the world's changed a bit. Yeah, I'd still give it a go. I'd try my hardest.
We have freedom of speech. I know. We've got freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Two-tier police. Freedom of speech. Two-tier police. Two-tier police. You don't even know what fascist is, man.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
We discussed all this. My name's Frank McGuinness. I come from Britain's oldest colony. I was born in Dublin and grew up in the occupied north of Ireland. I'm here to suggest three things. The first is that the British Empire, or the so-called United Kingdom, is in a crisis. The crisis of Zionism is a crisis of this state, because this state is backing the genocide. The Brits are at it again. They are once more enacting a genocide. The second thing I am here to suggest is that the Palestinian people have a right to use armed force to resist the apartheid state. We must all loudly proclaim our support for the Palestinian right to use armed force in self-defense against the genocidal fascist regime. And the third thing I'm here to suggest is that we are all anti-Zionists now. There is no space for anyone to continue identifying with that fascist ideology. We must say it loud and clear. Zionism is fascism. We are all anti-fascist. We are all anti-Zionist. This British state and these, the violent enforcement arm of the state that you see surrounding you today, the Metropolitan Police are, of course, complicit in this crisis. Yes. They've hyper-scrutinized our speech. They've hyper-scrutinized our placards. They've hyper-scrutinized our social media to try and find some foot that we may have put wrong, to try and test whether we've contravened the ridiculous terms of the Terrorism Act 2000, to try and insinuate that we are terrorists and anti-Semites for opposing their little loyal Jewish Ulster, as the apartheid state of Israel is once called. The British state is up to its neck in Palestinian blood. Yes. The blood will never wash off. Keir Starmer will forever be remembered as the war criminal at the top of the British Empire that presided over this genocide. Liam should not be on the inside of a dock. Keir Starmer will hopefully one day see the inside of a dock of a war crimes tribunal. So will his colleagues in the British Empire who did this to Palestinians. The Terrorism Act 2000 is in a complete legitimacy crisis, not just because of its use to try and attack the comrades in kneecap. They're using it to try and attack everyone. They've made an astonishing mistake in trying to ban my friends in Palestine Action. That group should never have been attacked in the way that it was. Those laws should never have been passed. The British state has no business lecturing anyone about violence. They have no business lecturing anyone about racism. They have no business lecturing anyone on how to resist colonialism. They are one of the most violently racist colonial empires in human history. They should have a right to armed resistance against this fascist empire as it attempts to enact a genocide against them. Yes. You think about the good people in the Front Libération Nationale, the FLN, that liberated Algeria from the French colonizers, good friends of the British Empire. The people of Algeria fought with guns and with bombs against the people colonizing them at staggering cost to themselves. Let me remind you, it took 1 million Algerians, 1 million Algerian lives to drive those French colonizers out of Algeria. But they did it. It is one of the most successful instances of anti-colonial resistance in human history. No Pact Iran! We are all anti-fascist! We are all anti-Zionist now! Do not be complacent. Your government, our so-called government, the British Empire, that colonized my homeland and that colonized Palestine, is at it again. They're engaged in the mass murder of Palestinians because they're viewed as a racial threat to the demographic purity of their little loyal Jewish Ulster. We must not be complacent. Coming to this rally is not enough. We must escalate our opposition to their genocide until it is definitively defeated, until a ceasefire is called, and from there we must dismantle the apartheid state of Israel and consign it to the dustbin of history. Glory to the resistance and its martyrs. Shaki Allah!
A rare white Bengal tiger named Kenya.
One minute they lick you and they may take a chunk at you, then 20 minutes later they may come and lick you. So you gotta be, you have to be very cautious with them.
I mean, whoever got that footage is like gold, isn't it? You'd never thought, when you start following these people, you know, although I went to a domestic cat show in New York, Madison Square Gardens. I thought I like cats, right? But the owners, I couldn't take my eyes off the owners. They were like the people in this. I did hairdos I hadn't seen before. There was one family that bred these cats, and the cats were obviously inbred. But so there was it looked like their faces were on upside down. That's the only way I couldn't stop looking at this family. They were from the deep south, and they'd come up to New York to show their pedigree cats, and they all had the same face, and it all looked like it was on upside down. But yeah, some of the hairdos were incredible. I mean that's true with anything, isn't it? If something's really, really in and nerdy and you love it, you're probably in a good way. You're probably not normal. Oh dear. Anyway, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's amazing. But don't keep tigers. I mean, how do we get? I'm trying to think. Oh, they're not as bad as them. They're all pretty bad. And how did we get to the point where there are that many tigers in captivity? More tigers in captivity in America than in the wild. When the first person said, "I want to keep a tiger," the judge should have said, "No, that's fucking mental. You can't keep a tiger. It's £500 and it eats people. You can't keep a tiger. I like them and I've got the money. You can't. Right? You can't keep a fucking tiger. Okay? Get a dog. Get a budgie. Don't get a budgie. Don't get a budgie. Let them fly. Let them fly. But you know what I mean? Don't keep a tiger.
White tigers, like I used to see you in the pictures with them, and like what was it like? Was they babies? Did you raise them since they was babies?
Absolutely, I had their mother and their father.
Oh, you had the mother and father, and then they made the babies?
Yes. Yes.
You wasn't scared of these tigers, Mike?
Hey, listen, this is how it happened, Joe. I was in prison, right? And I was talking to one of my friends who I bought exotic cars from, and he was saying that one of my friends that he knew owed him some money. And he said, if he doesn't pay me any money, I'm going to take some of these cars and trade them in for some animals. I said, what kind of animals? He said, horses and stuff. And he said, Mike, they have some nice tigers and lions, too. If you got one of those, that would be so cool, a Ferrari. I said, yeah, that would be true. I said, why don't you order me a couple when I get out? So I'll be getting out in a couple of months. I was in prison. And so when I got out, I came home, I had 2 cubs.
Yo, that's fucking crazy, Mike. Like, you had tigers in your house, and then they was fully grown by the time you had... So,
yeah.
Yo, Mike, there's a rumor that one of them jumped over the shit and bit the neighbor's arm off or some shit.
No, Joe, that's not what happened.
Tell me what happened, Mike.
Somebody jumped over my fence where the tiger was and jumped in the inhabitant and started playing with the tiger, and the tiger didn't know the lady, so it was a bad accident.
Oh, so she jumped over the gate?
Yeah, she jumped in the property where the tiger was at.
Let me ask you a question. They sued you for that shit?
Well, they tried to until they found out that she jumped over the fence and then she trespassed with the tiger. And listen, when I saw what the tiger did to her hand, I had a lot of money back then, so I gave her $250,000, whatever it was, because she was just fucked up, Joe.
Yeah, that motherfucker took her arm off, huh?
Oh, Joe, you can't believe what they can do to a person's flesh. I had no idea.
No, I know, because out in Dubai, my little man, Rashid Ben Hassan, his house is a zoo. So, like, when they eat dinner, you look this way, it's tigers, you look this way, it's lions, it's insane. They own a zoo, and so many animals there, him and his father and them, and they put me in with a tiger, and the motherfucker, he's so big, but he's so quick. And
listen, incredibly quick for something that's 500 pounds, 600 pounds.
You are not getting away from a tiger if he wants your ass. There is no way around it.
And they kill you in like 3 seconds, so you're not going to live long.
You know, I seen the tiger get fed. I seen a motherfucker throw like a piece of steak up to like a tree. It was like the 4th floor of a building, and the motherfucker jumped up there, hit the tree, and grabbed the steak. When I saw that, it erased every hope of me ever running away in the fucking jungle from a tiger.
No, you don't stand no chance, man. They kill you with one swing. Bow, you're dead. Your neck is broken.
So it's pretty much like Russian roulette fucking with these tigers, huh?
Hey, listen, know what I've learned? I was foolish that there's no way you're going to domesticate these cats 100%. There's no way that's going to happen.
Yo, that shit is crazy, Mike, because...
They kill you by accident. They don't even mean to kill you. They do it by accident. They're too strong.
Yeah, I'm sure they killed motherfuckers and was looking at their owner like, yo, what happened? Why he ain't getting up? They just don't realize they're like a fucking truck.
No, especially when you're playing rough with them. You're punching them back and they're getting hyped back and they hit you back and you're dead.
Yo, Mike, you was boxing with the motherfuckers, huh? Like you was...
Oh, I loved them. I used to sleep with them. They were my... I'm just happy I educated myself. It was late, but I've educated myself that I was doing the wrong shit. I shouldn't have had them in my house.
I shouldn't have had them domesticated. At least believe me that they were domesticated. I was wrong. There's no way in the world, yo.
Yes, the Dutch Barn. Dutch Barn. I co-own that company. And yeah, all the adverts I've been doing, they could never get on telly. Well, I'm going to do some for telly maybe, just take out some of the swearing. It's made in Yorkshire from apples. It's we got our own orchard and everything. I'm a farmer, officially. I told you, didn't I? So if there's a war, couldn't fight, like they'd fucking have me anyway. We need that fat old bloke. Why? He's got 4 hands. 4. See?
These people are in power, and they're in power on a tiny sliver of the electorate. Keir Starmer got 34% of all those that voted in the British general election. But he only got 19% of all the people who could have voted in that election. And so a guy with 19% of the British public's support got 63% of the seats in the British Parliament. And now he's busy ennobling his friends, cronies and donors, putting them in the House of Lords, making them members of Parliament for life. So I agree with you. We should fight for accountability. We should demand it. But the ultimate accountability is when they stand up for election. That's why I am clear about the elections in May. Anybody but Labour. Vote for anybody but Labour. Labour must be destroyed.
Try Dutch Barn. Yes, it might make me $1 billion, but when I die, that'll go to worthy causes, won't it? That's why I haven't had kids. Even though my kids don't exist, I hate the little to have all my money. Right, that'll do.
For years, radio was a way of, I don't know, but you could privately engage with people, and they felt like you, at the best, they felt like you were a friend of theirs that they would listen to, you know, on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm. And then how did you sort of work the material of then your podcast with Ricky Gervais, the Ricky Gervais Show? Before, was it sort of pre-planned, or was it like a more organic?
Well, when it was initially, it was just Ricky and I on a radio station, and we would kind of have a quick chat beforehand, and then we would just make us went along. And then we got given this producer, Carl Pilkington, and we asked him a question. He was just there to press the buttons and make tea and things. I forget, we asked him a question, or he was telling a story or something, and he said something about blah, 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 and the neighbours, you know, and they were the neighbours that had a horse in the living room. Anyway, and we were like, what do you mean anyway? Let's go back to the neighbours with the horse in the living room. And for him, that wasn't the interesting part of the story. And we quickly realised that he was sort of gold dust, you know, and he just, almost anything that you asked him was just dynamite, because he just had this completely unique view of the world. You know, we were talking once about celebrities who are only famous because of who their father is. So, you know, Callum Best, whose father was footballer George Best, Bianca Gascoigne, you know, lots of, and we were saying they're only famous because of who their dad is. And Carl said, well, you could say the same thing about Jesus. And you're sort of like, yeah, that kind of makes sense in a way. And I remember we asked him once to explain evolution, and he said something like, Evolution's easy, isn't it? You know, it's like slugs, monkeys, mermaids, man. You know, of course it is. And so he was just a never-ending, you know, supply of. It's like if you'd found a magic lamp, you know, and you could just rub it every week, and magic would come out really. And so then it really became a show about him, really. And off we went. And so there was never any planning there. I mean, it was just showing up and winding Carl up until he spoke.
Can you see the Carl Pilkington radio shows coming back at any time?
The thing is with that is, people ask me, and I do miss it, and I even now and again listen to some of the old ones. Did everyone hear that question? Is Carl Pilkington's our podcast coming back? I don't think it would work. I think Carl became my little public experiment. It was like a cross between.
Because it felt so unscripted.
It was unscripted.
And that was
totally
what
unscripted.
was.
That is real. It was unscripted. He was like my little experiment, like a cross between. I don't know. Have you seen the film Lawnmower Man? It was like, okay, a cracking reference to anyone who has. But I always thought that Carl was like, I'd found a 10,000-year-old caveman and shaved it, thawed it out, put clothes on it, and then tried to teach it sort of art and philosophy and science. And I think, because he had a good brain, I kept telling him, I said, you've got a good brain, you just don't use it, right? And, you know, he found things that interested him, which were spurious and often apocryphal or nonsense, just things on the internet, you know, baby born, half monkey, half. I was going, it's not true, Carl, it's not true. He'd go, look at him. I go, it's just a hairy kid. He's a hairy kid. He's 100% human. He's got a lot of hair. It says here he's half monkey. It doesn't matter what it says there, Carl. It's not half monkey. But I think he became sort of a little bit more worldly wise.
I suppose it's that chemistry that you guys captured in that show. It's hard to replicate that kind of chemistry.
You couldn't contrive it. I discovered him. He opened his little slack jaw once, and he said something, and I just my ears went up like that, and I just thought, this guy's interesting. It's like I found him under a rock. So I don't think it would be the same. I don't think it would be the same. He's sort of retired now.
It doesn't matter how many times I re-listen to it. It's still golden.
I listen to it about. People send me tweets of like clips, and I'd completely forgotten about them. But it's like the first time he heard about something that I might introduce a concept to him, and it's the first time, and I can hear his brain working. It's like a silence where, you know, he'd say things to me like childlike. He'd say things like, he said, what's the most amazing fact ever? I go, what do you mean? He said, tell me something that'll blow my mind. I said, well, the nature of infinity is pretty amazing. I said, okay, here's one. I said, there are as many even numbers as even and odd numbers put together. He went, no. I told him the theory that, you know, the model of infinity, the infinite amount of chimps working on typewriters would write it was Shakespeare. He wouldn't have that. He said, have they read Shakespeare? I went, that's nothing to do with it. I said, that's nothing to do with it, right? He'd go, I just don't think they do that. I go, no, no, take out cognitive reason. There's no choice. They've chosen monkeys to take out choice and reason. They're just hitting away like that, and he just couldn't get it. He couldn't get that it was a, yeah. So I think he's learned his lesson, and I think he's sort of content. I just don't think it would work now.
I wonder if we would have been censored more, because I feel like we're living in an age now that is a little bit more sensitive to things, and maybe we wouldn't get away with it. I don't know.
And kind of then in that vein, especially with An Idiot Abroad, the humour is known to be slightly more tongue-in-cheek, slightly more offensive.
Offensive?
Offensive, it's slightly.
Okay. No, fair enough. Again, I mean, I don't mean that disingenuously. I think because to me, Carl is like a sort of idiot man-child. It's hard. It's like if a child says something offensive, it seems harder to take it seriously, if you know what I mean. And I think because of knowing Carl, that is sort of how I take it. But I can certainly see from the outside, it looks like he's offensive.
Yeah, but do you think in perhaps like our slightly more politically correct world, it's harder for comedians to sort of do their job because they're having to constantly tread the line and evaluate whether they are being offensive, as opposed to just trying to be funny?
Well, it's tricky, isn't it? Because Carl, for instance, just to take Carl as an example in that show, he's travelling the world and he's reacting authentically to the world around him, and he's ignorant. I mean, he is the little Englander personified. He's a man, I'm not joking, who takes little bags of tea bags when he goes to, Mauritius or something for 2 weeks. He, like my parents might, he's someone who, he's someone who will go on holiday when he chooses to go on holiday and immediately look for a cafe that serves a full English breakfast, while in Spain. And I think, therefore, if you send him to far-flung places, he reacts, in an authentic way. That's not him trying to fish for the controversial thing to say. I think he is just reacting. And I think I don't think it's born from prejudice. I think a lot of it's born from ignorance or naivety. And I think sometimes that lands him into hot water, and other times it's sort of is weirdly sweet. Like I remember him visiting the wall that divides, Israel from Palestine, and him just kind of just baffled by it. Like he was just like, it's so ugly, I don't understand. Like he doesn't understand the nuance of that debate. So to him, he's just like a child seeing this monstrosity and kind of not understanding it. And so, it's sweet in a way.
XFM is often seen as being sort of the beginning of the podcast era, and helping sort of pioneer this new sort of resurgence of radio, maybe in a new form of entertainment. Are you proud of that sort of cultural legacy? Did you have anywhere that size in mind when you started out?
Well, it's funny, as you walk around the union, you see those pictures of, pioneers in various fields like, Einstein and Malcolm X, and we got Carl Pilkington to, talk about eating, when he's in the jungle. So yes, a pioneer in every sense. But I didn't know what a podcast was, and Ricky suggested there's this new thing where you download it straight to your iPod at the time. Whatever. Okay, I no idea. And we started doing them, and then it was fun because you had none of the restrictions of radio. It's obviously with radio you're still restricted in what you can say within reason. With a podcast at the time, it was gloves off. You could say anything, and it just suddenly we were in the Guinness Book of Records for the number of downloads. I mean, that's because there was literally no one else doing it. So it's easy to win a world record when no one else is doing it. But now, as a keen podcast fan, I love it. I'm very proud that we were kind of ahead of the curve on that. And it's funny, I've done people's podcasts since, and they've talked about ours as being kind of instructive and informative for them. And I've met people, I was in Vietnam, I met people listening to the podcast, and people all over the world, because there's a great democratization with that. You can just download it from anywhere in the world and listen, and that's, I think, one of the most exciting things about media now that since when I began, is that it's kind of wide open. It's like an international field. If you want to do a podcast.
Well, I was just going to say, the reason I asked that question, because you were talking about Carl Pilkington earlier, and I don't know if you would say that he's a clever man, but he was certainly incredibly funny.
He was incredibly funny, but it was his attitude that was funny. And if you took it by himself, there was still the relationship. He still needed a couple of pretentious media types thinking that they were winning, but they were losing, because he didn't care what we thought. So there was still a little bit of a dynamic going on. Not just... If Carl Pilkington went on the radio and said, all right, world, here's what I think, monkeys and that, people go, why is this bloke telling us? But because he was goaded by a couple of pseudo-intellectual media types thinking that they were embarrassing him, there became a texture to it. and people wanted him to win. People loved him winning. Winning would maybe making me laugh, or being proved right for something that, you know. So there was still something going on. It wasn't just a man saying stupid things. So yeah.
I think in the first series he did not know what was coming ever, and he was genuinely alarmed. And there's a lot on the cutting room floor of him just angry, you know, not entertaining for anybody. It's just him. No, it's fucking. I think by the second series, in order to persuade him to go, we didn't tell him the specifics, but we would give hints, just because he just refused to go otherwise. But normally the limits, if we were pushing him to the limits, that was not him play acting. That was him almost sort of trying to negotiate with the producers, you know, as to exactly. I mean, the bungee jumping, you know, I mean, we wanted him to do the full bungee jumping, he refused, and he does some tiny little, I forget, but doesn't he just jump off from like a foot? He jumps from there to there, and it's pathetic. And so now, and then of course ultimately he's doing his own stuff now because he doesn't want to share the money with us, or sensibly be tortured without him knowing it. Because that's the thing, you know, once you make someone a celebrity, they then have a lot of power, and they can turn around and go, no, why on earth would I eat a sheep's jungle, you know? But it's not him sort of turning it on for the cameras, really. It's not manufactured in that way. Yeah. And I think when you are very tall and if you've got glasses or whatever, or you I don't know, you when you're a teenager, you know, you have those insecurities, and I remember someone saying to me once, you know, in an interview, do you think you use humor to control when people laugh at you? And that might be true, that might be just a fancy way of saying it, but I think there's some truth in that. And I think because I always sort of felt a little bit awkward in that way, it seemed natural to make fun of the way I looked, or the height, or whatever, sort of before anyone else did. And then as we moved into working with other people, you know, certainly when I met Ricky, he was short and fat, and in my mind old. In actual fact, he was younger than I am now, but there we are. And you know, Carl obviously does have a head like a fucking orange. So you use what you can have. Plus, also just sort of physicality is you know, the using your body, particularly if you're tall. You know, I think just it's fun.
Leave Carl Pilkington alone.
I love Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, but he must hate you. Does he hate you?
No, he loves me. We're best friends, but I'm just fascinated with him.
Does he have a family, Carl Pilkington?
What, sorry?
Does he have a family?
He has a girlfriend of, like, I think 18 years.
Mm-hmm. Children?
Who's no children, mm-hmm. No pets. No.
How is he treated in public at large?
He doesn't go in public, really. He puts a little woolly hat on. He doesn't.
Is he well respected among his peers?
I think so. I think people are confused by him. Some people think he's a character that I write his lines for him. Some people think
do that thing about where the humans and chimpanzees
I've been trying to... He didn't really go to school much. He went to school a couple of times. But over the last 10 years, I've been trying to sort of inflame his imagination. And he's got a good brain. He just hasn't used it. You know what I mean? It's... no, but I was saying to him that chimpanzees are genetically identical to human beings, right? 98.6% genetically identical. And I said, think of that, Carl. 1.4% difference. And Carl said, that's got to be the arse. Isn't that great? So good.
Yeah, I think he's right.
He's right. I was talking to him once, and again, he's fascinated with science and nature, and I was saying, Carl, there's a programme on tonight on television, it's called The Truth About the Giant Squid. And he went, who's been lying about it up till now? He's amazing. He's fantastic. I was telling him once, we did a Christmas podcast about the Nativity, and I said, well, you know, allegedly 3 wise men came on the day of Jesus' birth, and they brought him presents of gold, frankincense and myrrh. And Carl said, well, then presents for his birthday or Christmas.
Wow. That's good. And now you're sending him around the world on a bicycle with the star of the Life's Too Short show.
Yeah, Warwick Davis, who's a dwarf actor. And when I pitched the idea to Carl, we've just finished two series of An Idiot Abroad, where I sent him around the world. And then we're going to do a special. And I thought I'd step it up. And I said to Carl, I said, this time you're going around the world, but on a bicycle with Warwick Davis, the dwarf, in a basket. Right? And he didn't say, well, that's ridiculous. He said, so I'm doing all the peddling.
Let me ask you about Carl Pilkington. He is this great discovery that you made. There he is. He has a monkey on his back. You found this guy, and basically all you've done is ask him to be himself. He's a fascinating character.
Honestly, I feel like Anthony Hopkins in The Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Like I've got this, I found this, honestly, and I'm taking him round the world.
Where did you find him?
By the way, this is true. That's Carl's favourite film, The Elephant Man. He loves it. He said, it's weird. I wish I could have met him, but he's dead. Right? There's a bit in it where Anthony Hopkins shows off John Merrick to a group of surgeons, and is naked, and Anthony Hopkins is going, you see the deformation of the spine, the limbs, are the only things that are totally normal and untouched. And Carl went, think of that, the one thing you would want like an elephant, and he gets the head.
But it's funny, Carl's never trying to be funny.
No,
it just everything he says just happens to be
honestly,
genius.
he talks in one-liners that comedians would die for, and he doesn't mean them. He just, because he's childlike. There's never any malice. He's got no filter. There's no pretensions. I sent him around the world because I knew it would be out of his comfort zone. And
it's a show, Carl Pilkington Around the World. You're doing it again.
Yeah, it's called An Idiot Abroad. He didn't come up with the title. We didn't even know it was the title until he saw the billboards. It's great. It's like one big experiment. Like, you know, like you muck around and annoy mates?
Yes.
I do that on a global scale.
Yes.
Yeah. We're backed by millions. And I've just sent him around again. Idiot Abroad 3 is coming to Science Channel next year. And
you've teamed him up with someone this time, is that right?
Warwick Davis, who's the dwarf actor. Well, he's an actor.
Yeah.
He's a dwarf.
Yeah.
And
that's
you've not his title, dwarf actor. He's an actor, and he happens to be a dwarf. I don't know why.
That's not on the business.
He doesn't put that on his. Well, it's because I told Carl once that when Dick Whittington, he apparently walked to London and became mayor, and he took his cat, and Carl went, "Why would you take a cat?" He said, he must have walked twice as far because cats wander. And he said, also, why didn't he take a little mate? So I've given him a little mate.
And does he gets along with Warwick?
No, he doesn't get along.
They don't get along?
No, they're arguing all the time. It's honestly, it's the best series so far because they just bicker. And Warwick's so gregarious and normal, and I stitched it up, so I always gave Warwick a better room and made sure Carl saw that, and Carl's like next to a toilet with it's just so funny. And I was editing the final episode, and Carl asked Warwick the funniest question I've ever heard anyone ask, and he's totally serious. He said to Warwick, he went, "Have you got knees?"
What does he think of this?
And Warwick just laughed. Warwick just went, he went, yes, I have, yes.
Have you watched Black Mirror?
Oh, no, I haven't, but it's...
Have you seen
the one about the body that we did on the podcast?
There's like a couple of them.
No, I haven't. I've heard it. Everyone tweeted me.
There's YouTube
I didn't see
stuff.
that one.
So
Shit.
there's Carl from Ricky's podcast, from the old podcast, predicted episodes of Black Mirror. Like they took, or the people who make Black Mirror heard this thing.
Well, I think that's more likely because Carl had a thing that he wished that when you went to the doctor
the doctor could put you in a thing, and the doctor could feel what you were feeling, so he'd know, because it's hard to describe the pain. And that was it. And I was going, hold on, how would this work, right? He had other ideas, like, he said, I've invented something. I go, what? He said, see-through skin. Well, you can't do it. You can't say I've invented something and then go, oh, I don't know the details yet, but just get on with it. Right. You know? So it's mental stuff he came up with, so it was perfect for this. But yeah, I didn't see it, but everyone said...
I'm in the middle of that one now, actually. The doctor who has the thing in his neck. It's really fascinating.
It's just funny because on the YouTube video, like, they take from the podcast and the animated series, and they show, like, the setup for it, and then they show it in the episode, and then they show, like, you and Steven going, like, why would it do this? And then Carl explains this, and then they show it in the episode.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah. I just had a medical, right? I have it every year, right? And I asked the doctor, right, why still the finger? And they've got now what is it called? Where they can tell if you've got prostate problems from a urine test. He went, but that only one side of it. You can tell if it started, it's early, so the finger's never going away. The finger is never going away.
Oh, you were saying, why do you still... Oh, I thought you wanted an upgrade.
All this stuff, they were taking blood samples, and they were showing everything, but then he said, no, I've got to stick my finger up.
Oh, right? You said, why still the finger?
Why still the finger? Yeah, and it's just not going away. They always need someone to feel it first, because it's early stages and that. So
yeah, and you fidget around in there.
That sounds like there's some doctors though that want to hold back some technology because they really. No, I think manually is the way to do this.
Well, I go there every year, and it's always and this guy is a big guy as well, and I thought, well, he's going to have a fucking huge finger.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it, and it's not the worst thing. The worst now as well, because they seem to hurt more. I don't know if I'm more sensitive, or because I'm thinking about it, they sort of shrink, so he has to dig in now and get my balls out of their...
They shrink up?
Like a little turtle going into their shell, you know what I mean?
Testicles,
yeah, because I'm so nervous now about a fucking squeeze...
The skin kind of hornet's nests up against your
honestly,
body.
he has to dig them out now.
I've heard about, like somebody's, like, going back in when they get nervous or cold or whatever. I've never heard of somebody's... going back into their body.
It must be a nervous reaction. I don't know. Which is odd because my are longer and stretchier than they've ever been. But so they should be easy. I mean, he could probably do it from across the other side of the room. But no, they were shrunk. So.